If you like this channel and what I do here, please help to support my work by checking out one of my books, available from Lulu Publishing and Amazon.com. Thank you. Hi folks, welcome to Electric Media Madness. Carl James here with Dan Ryan. How you doing, mate?
I am very good after that.
We're here for the Mandalorian season finale, episode 8, aka chapter 16. It's the rescue. Is that memory serves? Yeah. Brilliant. Absolutely fantastic. What a season finale. What an episode overall. Do you want to run with the brief? There will be plot spoilers here, so spoiler alert for anybody who hasn't watched it yet. I don't know if you want to run with the...
Definitely watch it before getting anything spoiled for this one.
Yes. Yeah, because you got spoiled, didn't you?
I got spoiled for like 3 things. And the big thing in this episode was one of those spoilers. It's basically... It's what the title suggests. This episode is basically just the rescue. So they start off going to get
Yoda,
Bo-Katan, and they're like, okay, we know where Moff Gideon is, let's go get him. And after a small brawl, they go off to go get him on the cruiser. They're fucking blasting through everything. It's really cool. There's loads of cool shit. And then they, after killing like every living person on the entire ship, they go to the bridge. Moff Gideon's not there. Mando's off on his own trying to find Baby Yoda. He goes to find Baby Yoda, and Moff Gideon's there. They have a little fight.
In the cell with him,
Yeah, they have a little fight. Well, and before that, Mando had a fight with a Dark Trooper.
Yeah,
they have a fight. Mando beats him. Keeps him alive, and then he takes him to the bridge, and then all the Dark Troopers come back in on that.
Because Mando flushed them all out into space, didn't they? But you see them like approaching the cruiser, and they're all coming back into the hangar bay and they're working their way to the bridge.
Yeah, and they're just punching through the door, and then you see a lone X-wing come in, and you're like,
spoiler alert!
And you're like, oh, okay. And then you see someone with a black cloak come out, and then that person.
You see it on the security cameras, don't you? You see him working his way along,
and then you see a lightsaber, and then when you finally see it
green,
in person,
and it's a green one.
And you see he's got one glove on one hand.
Yeah.
And you're like, that's Luke Skywalker.
Could it be?
And then
we kept speculating, didn't we, as to whether it was going to be just like somebody in a cloak and you wasn't actually going to see him or anything. And it said, surely not. It's not going to be. Actually, we're going to see Mark Hamill or anything like that. We were constantly speculating backwards and forwards. As we were watching it, we were messaging each other saying, "Is this that?"
And then it is Mark Hamill.
But it was, yeah. And I'm not entirely sure how. Yeah, sorry. Let's finish the plot first before we get into that.
Yeah, and then he basically says like, you've got to give me Baby Yoda so I can train him, or he's just forever going to be hunted. Mando takes his helmet off, says goodbye, and then R2 comes in. That was a lovely little thing as well. Yeah. And then they interact a little bit, and then Luke takes Baby Yoda. Him and R2 go off. The doors close, and the episode ends basically.
Yeah. And we do have a post-credit moment, don't we, as well, setting up.
Yeah.
Well, we're not sure if it's setting up next season or if it's setting up a separate series. We think it probably is next season because it's a bit vague at the moment. They announced the Book of Boba, didn't they? The Book of Boba Fett or whatever it is. So.
Yeah, but that has the exact same release date as the 3rd season of Mandalorian.
So we're assuming that the Book of Boba Fett thing is going to be season 3 of Mandalorian. Yeah. That was the post-credit scene. It's Jabba's palace on Tatooine, and Fennec Shan and Boba Fett come in there just gunning down everybody. They let go of the dancing slave girl. They free her. And it's Fortuna, who's like very much overweight now and sitting on the throne on top of Jabba's throne. And he's like, "Oh, Boba, I didn't realize you were, good to see you again." Blah 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 blah, and then he just shit. So Boba Fett guns down Bib Fortuna, and he plonks himself down on the throne in Jabba's palace. And then it says, "Coming in December 2021, the book of Fett or the book of
Boba Fett, I think.
Book of Boba Fett." Yeah. So we're assuming that's what that is.
Yeah.
So right, because there's so much to talk about, and I didn't make notes, and neither did you. So we're gonna have to do this on the fly. I just got so engrossed in watching it.
Yeah.
There are some things in my head, but let's get two little things out of the way. We'll start with, because these things are bound to get discussed, given like all sort of Egg-gate and Boob Armor-gate and all the rest of it, yeah. And Gina Carano-gate and all the rest of it, all the different things that have been flying around over the last 8 weeks. Let's talk about, first of all, because someone's bound to say something about this. Yes, Disney has got identity politics, and they're very woke, and they're very disingenuous sometimes about the way they do them. Plus, there's also the overriding thing, what they did with, most definitely what they did with the sequel trilogy. So I am guaranteed somebody is going to say something derogatory about the scene where they disembark from the shuttle, and it's the 4 female characters. You've got Bo-Katan, her Mandalorian friend whose name I can never remember, Fennec Shan, and Cara Dune. And they're gunning their way through the ship. And there's going to be people out there who are going to say, "Oh, this is all feminine, identity politics, blah, blah, blah." I see this, and I'm not making excuses for Disney. I'm not making excuses for what they've done with Star Wars. But I saw this scene purely as 4 strong female characters going in there and taking care of business. They're clear. They've got their mission to get to the bridge and get Moff Gideon. Mando's mission. It's not like they're paving the way for Mando or anything like that, because he's off on his own doing.
Yeah, he's doing something completely different.
He's going to rescue Baby Yoda elsewhere on the ship, And I mean, if you wanted to throw that card, you could say, well, Mando wouldn't have been able to have took on that one Dark Trooper on his own, or spaced the rest and all that. And of course, all the subsequent fights that so that argument doesn't hold water. If they were going along killing all the stormtroopers and saying these pathetic excuses for men in their stormtrooper helmets and all that, which you said there are films like that that are a bit like that, describing that, yeah. Then that would be different. Then I would agree with these people if they do say that. But this doesn't happen here. I just got the impression of, all I kept thinking was strong female characters done in the right way. I kept thinking of, classic characters, Ellen Ripley at the end of Aliens, Sarah Connor in Terminator 2, Buffy the Vampire Slayer, these iconic, strong female characters who weren't virtue signaling or it was about bashing some disingenuous identity politics agenda. This was just 4 strong female characters taking care of business, advancing the plot of the story. So if anybody does say that, I can't agree with them. I can understand where they're coming from. That Disney is very subtle in the way they do things, a lot more subtle than Star Trek Discovery or Doctor Who is. I mean, they just bash you over the head with it, and that may be so. But I think we've got to. It's not about giving Disney the benefit of the doubt or anything like that. It's about what we're seeing on screen, and there was no agenda with this. There was no derogatory dialogue or anything like that. It was just them just part and parcel of what was going on with the story.
Yeah.
So that's my position on that. I'm sure you take the same position.
Oh yeah,
as well.
I completely agree.
Yeah. The other issue is Luke Skywalker. Now, it was fantastic seeing him. We talked about how it was done. We're not entirely sure. It was Mark Hamill voicing him, so I don't know whether they did some kind of motion capture and then de-aged him or something like that, or it looked very much like they'd took some footage from Return of the Jedi and modified it, because he does look sort of that age, doesn't he? It's consistent with the time where we are in the chronology of Star Wars. So it's sort of post Return of the Jedi, and he does, so it was definitely Mark Hamill. We know that from the end credits, which was brilliant. But the issue here is how this is going to sit with some Star Wars fans. Now, I'm very much with these people. I was there shouting. My sort of alignment with people loosely of the fandom menace was solidified because of what happened with The Last Jedi. I think the sequel trilogy is appalling, and The Last Jedi is particularly so in comparison to anything that's come before and since, for that matter, actually. But what they've done with Luke Skywalker is the biggest crime. There are other factors, but what they did with Luke Skywalker in The Last Jedi was the biggest problem. Now, we're not fly on the walls, are we, in Disney? So we can't really know what their reasons for doing this. Was this just done member berries, fan service to get the Star Wars fans back on board again? Was this done because some money people in Disney said, look, Disney's in trouble at the moment, which it is. We need to make some money. We need to get people back on board with this again. They love Luke Skywalker, the hardcore fans, and all that kind of thing. So let's just do this. Let's just completely fan service, whether it be to say sorry to the fans. I don't think that's why it's being done. Is it being done for financial reasons? I think that's more likely.
Yeah.
I think almost certainly that's why it's being done. So it's not. It's being done to try and get fans back on board with it and to love it, which is what I think what a lot of this season has been done for. I do very much think that they've been trying to correct their hemorrhaging money, their hemorrhaging audience, their hemorrhaging fans, and this is an attempt to try and put that right. Is it being done for the right reasons? I very much doubt it. We're never going to be behind the scenes to know that, right? So the question then is, does this put anything right with The Last Jedi? Let's go with your thoughts on this one first.
See, I think it shows that someone in Disney has realised that there was a problem with the sequel trilogy. The fact as well that they announced like a million things last week, and to my knowledge, not a single one was related to the sequel trilogy.
Yeah. Like we did wonder about whether the Visions one might get into that territory.
It might.
But
there are no.
We're not going to really
shows.
know until this. But yeah, you're right.
Yeah, and like the fact they're doing stuff like this, it seems like someone up in Disney has said, like, you fucking did something wrong here. Like, you need to try and rectify this somehow.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, maybe there is some like passion behind the writers or whatever. Maybe they did really want to do this anyway.
I would like to think so. I think Dave Filoni has got a passion for Star Wars, irrespective of what people might say about him and his politics and all that. But I think it's a given that he has got a passion for Star Wars. Jon Favreau has definitely got a passion for it as well. So, yeah, I think you're right in that respect. But I think it's that thing of not knowing why they're doing it. Does anybody there recognise that there's something fundamentally wrong with the Disney sequel trilogy? Something very, very wrong with it, and they fucked up. Do they acknowledge that? Are there people there that know that but they don't like to say? Do they openly acknowledge it? Has anybody high up the chain said that, or is this just purely a business model thing? Money. We're losing money. We need to get.
I mean, it could be.
This is where
This is this is their big thing to get people to get Disney Plus, really. I mean, the only other thing would have been, like, I guess they thought Mulan might do that, but that flopped painfully miserably. So...
And of course, because of the authoritarian nightmare that we live in now, one of the casualties of that, amongst many, many, many casualties, has been theatres, cinema theatres and that kind of thing. So the days, at least for the foreseeable future, the days of people going to theatres en masse is not there now. So their business model has had to shift onto Disney Plus, hasn't it? And
I think you can see that. The amount of TV shows for like Marvel and stuff that are coming out, there's like so many more than movies. Because like a lot of them, they're saying they're gonna stream movies as well as cinemas, and most people are just gonna stream it instead. So, like,
Mm.
I think cinemas are gonna die within the next
Yeah,
5 years probably,
I think so. Yeah,
which is
yeah,
very
yeah.
sad. But
Yeah. I think you will get your little niche, privately owned, run sort of
yeah,
art house cinemas and sort of kooky sort of places that do things. But as for your multiplex big places with lots of people going there, pulling in like 2 billion for a Marvel film or whatever, I think those days have gone.
yeah,
For the foreseeable future, anyway. I think it may change years from now, but of course with the technology, I mean, I do know. I'll get conspiratorial for a second and say that given what I know about the plans of certain elite types and where they want to take sort of technology for the world in alignment with those agendas, the whole model of cinemas, screens with people like that doesn't fit that model. Everything being online and digital and streaming and no actual cash involved. It's all done online, and that fits their agendas. So I think probably those days are gone, well and truly gone. Yeah, I think you're right with that.
yeah.
So going back to what we were saying, let's talk for a second about Luke Skywalker. It was amazing to see it. It was really. I felt, and you and I both said the same thing, that this was the send off that we should have got with Luke Skywalker as opposed to what we got with The Last Jedi, and to some extent they did try to slightly write it with The Rise of Skywalker, but it was too little, too late. The damage had already been done. And that's why I want to ask this question of you, because I need to think about as well. Is does it make anything right? Does it correct anything?
I think for me, I really like separate them.
Yeah.
I've had like 3 years of practice, right?
Yes. We've had a lot of practice.
Specifically, The Last Jedi, I can like separate that completely in my head. So this was just like watching the original trilogy to me.
Yeah.
So like it didn't bother me at all. Like to me, it was like I didn't even think about like that question really. Because I was
took
just
it in its own right of what you were seeing at that moment in time on screen.
Because just fuck Last Jedi, I just keep it separate and watch this as if it was part of the older stuff, basically.
I think there's a lot of people out there that have a difficult time having separation. You and I are very good at doing that, and it doesn't put us in a better position than anybody else. And I do know a lot of other people who can do this as well. Is we're very capable of creating divorce lines of separation, lines of embarkation and debarkation. Do you know what I mean? Where the cut-off points, as we said in our woefully miserable, boring Discovery review video that we did yesterday, which was laughable, really. We hopefully won't do too many videos like that where we're like, But for me, Star Trek, the 2005 End of Enterprise, I can watch the stuff before. Whatever they do now, they've already done shitloads of damage, so I will never be surprised by them anymore, ever again. They can throw their worst at me. I can watch the old stuff. It doesn't matter. Same with Doctor Who. Pre-Chibnall era. I'm okay. I can watch it. It doesn't bother me. And I can go back and watch the prequels, the original trilogy, the Clone Wars and all that without the sequel trilogy affecting any of that for me. Does it let them off the hook? Absolutely not. And I know why a lot of people are angry, and I know why people can't do that. It's that rage they've got. They cannot ever forgive and forget what Disney did, which means that anything that Disney does afterwards now, they can't ever reconcile it because of what they've done. It's almost like unless you march Kathleen Kennedy out there and does a formal on-screen apology and decanonizes the sequel trilogy, these people will never forgive them for what they've done. I understand that. I do understand that. Believe me, it's different from me because I come from a place of having researched Disney. I loathe Disney. They are a dangerous entity. I've said this many times. People don't know the half of what Disney are involved in. They really don't. If people knew, my God, they wouldn't. They. It's like, no, get them away from me, give me the plague. So maybe I'm a hypocrite for watching The Mandalorian. Maybe I'm a hypocrite for having a subscription to Disney Plus. Well, actually, technically, it's you that's got the subscription. But that's neither here nor there. What we do, this channel is about showing things when they go horribly wrong, showing the agendas. And it is weird how Mandalorian has kind of backtracked from that now. It's not showing the Disney agenda blatantly, at least on screen anyway. We can still go away and do research and see what Disney's doing to get evidence on that. But in terms of what's going on screen now, they've pulled back from that massively. Does that mean we should let them off the hook? Does that mean we should forgive them? Does that mean we should forget? No, definitely not. But I can still watch that old stuff. And the thing, they've done a very, very clever thing, actually, because with Mandalorian, it feels like old stuff.
It does, yeah.
Which is why people are probably more inclined to watch it. It's a very shrewd move on Disney's part, because to create anything new probably was not going to work.
No.
They had no choice but to go back into the original trilogy and take Boba Fett, Bo-Katan from the Clone Wars, obviously. Now Luke Skywalker and R2-D2 as well. And they riffed on Yoda with Baby Yoda as well. That was member very effectively. So no, don't anybody who watches these videos, don't ever think that we are letting Disney off the hook, that we are forgiving and forgetting what they've done. Absolutely not. Absolutely not. But taken separately in its own right as an individual moment in time, this was brilliant. It was brilliant.
It was, yeah.
And it was a truly wonderful moment seeing Luke Skywalker there doing his thing. Doesn't change anything that happened in The Last Jedi, but in its own right, watching it in that moment in time, it was really quite sad, actually, because I really wish that I would have seen something to that effect. It's maybe some people say, oh, it's too little, too late, but actually having Mark Hamill there voicing it as well.
Yeah. I was sat there with the fucking hugest grin, just like, yeah.
But it wasn't just that. I mean, that was the cherry on the cake. But there was so much good stuff here. You got your Cara Dune back, you got your Bo-Katan back, you got your Boba Fett there. Some fantastic special effects and the stuff with Slave One was amazing.
Oh yeah.
So after all this time to properly see the Slave One of the, I'm not talking about the Slave One of the prequel, Attack of the Clones. I'm talking about the Slave One that we saw in Empire Strikes Back, which basically was just flying around in debris and chasing the Millennium Falcon. Now you're seeing it in a full-on action doing its thing. It's got, was it an ion cannon as well? It had got as well, disabling all that kind of thing. The special effects with the Dark Troopers was brilliant. The special effects with the Darksaber, So yeah, I mean, I don't know what else to. Music special effects were fantastic. Music was amazing. There was one moment there, it sounded like the music had got stuck and it was going, it's like it was skipping. Skipping. But yeah, it was fine. Yeah, I could gush, but I'm sure there'll be other people out there who'll just say, it worked on every level. It worked fantastic. Yeah. And it was sad to see Baby Yoda saying goodbye. He's gone off with Luke Skywalker now to train to be a Jedi. Who knows what his fate's going to be with the... don't want to mention the Knights of Ren and all that. But, yeah, I mean, it's interesting how Disney now does seem to be skirting around the edge of the sequel trilogy all the time, doesn't it?
They won't touch it since Rise of Skywalker.
I think this is just a delayed thing. I do think it's going to happen eventually. I think we're going to have a horrible reminder of the sequel trilogy again at some point soon along the way. Somebody in Disney's they won't be able to help it, I would hope that sanity will prevail, and they'll think, well, shit, we've got to protect what we've got left of our assets, because we're hemorrhaging money at the moment. Yeah. So we've really got to do something good, something right, and not piss off people. So who knows? So any stuff that you want to go through? Because I'm pretty much there with in terms of, you know.
Yeah, I mean, it's all good. Like, something that I mentioned to you earlier as well. Like, something that this series does that I've not seen any other series do. So they decide what they want in their episode, right? And they don't do what other series do and push it to like the 50-minute mark. It's like
Discovery.
yeah, or like
Yeah.
well, every other show basically. But this
Mm.
is like if they have like 32 minutes of content, the episode
That's
will be
it.
32 minutes long. If they've got,
Yeah.
I think there's one episode that was like 25 minutes or something like that.
Yeah.
Like if that's all they have, then they'll do that. They won't fill it with
Yeah.
filler shit, and I genuinely really respect that. And I think more series should do that.
I do actually. Yeah. If it isn't necessary, if it's just padding filler, wadding, you know, you're doing something wrong. You can't write a good story to fill the allotted time slot, you know.
Yeah,
then you're doing something wrong.
Make your own allotted time slot. Just do what you need. Don't just try. Yeah.
You're right. It does seem to be what they're doing. Yeah, they seem to be running with what they've got, and that's it. They don't need to. I mean, I think there have been tiny moments here and there where they've padded the Mandalorian a bit. But they generally tend to be the longer episodes. They certainly didn't feel like there was any padding in this one.
No, not at all.
I might be misremembering, but I've only watched it once, so yeah.
I mean, after the little bit with like Bo-Katan at the start, it just jumps straight into it, basically.
Yeah. And lots of nice member berries like the Imperial Shuttle Tidarian. I know it wasn't Shuttle Tidarian, but you know, it was that kind of thing. And when they were trying to land in there, get the stormtroopers, the TIE fighters out of the way. Yeah, there's so many good things here. It's just that wonderful thing of the end, though. No, I can't remember. It's been a long time since I've watched something, and I thought, "Oh, is it real? Is it this? Is it that?" It's like, first of all, you saw the X-wing, and I said, "I was probably Ahsoka Tano or something." But what was she doing with the X-wing? And then you see the cloak, and you think, "Oh, is it Luke Skywalker?" Then you see the green lightsaber. Is it? Oh, it's Luke Skywalker. It's probably Luke Skywalker. But and you like you say with the robotic hand, the gloved hand. So it's Luke Skywalker. But are we going to see Mark Hamill now? Is it going to be another actor? Are they going to do like they did with Carrie Fisher at the end of Rogue One? You know, some really bad CGI sort of de-aging, blah blah blah, or something like that. I'm not entirely sure how well this worked with the de-aging thing there. There were little tiny things, you know, like the lip syncing up with the mouth.
I looked really close at the mouth, and it looked like it didn't exactly match what he was saying,
perfect,
or it was out of sync. I can't quite put my finger on what it was. But I was really looking to find that. Like, I probably wouldn't have noticed that if I weren't.
Yeah.
So.
you could tell, and I think it's just the way the human eye works. You can tell when something is like a deep fake or you know, that kind, do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
There's just something about it that's artificial. But you know what? It was fine. It looked like the Luke from Return of the Jedi, and they've got the voice. You know, they got Mark Hamill voicing it as well. So yeah, it did all that it needed to do. It would make sense that really that was the only place that Yoda could go when he was calling out through the Force on the top of that temple thing, the stone.
Yeah.
Calling into the Force and all that. You know, it would make sense because we in that episode review we did wonder who those Jedi would be.
Yeah.
And it's like, it's Ahsoka Tano. Sorry, no, it wasn't. She told them to go there, didn't she? Sorry.
Yeah, she told them to go.
So we were speculating who else that would be. There's not many options. It's either going to be a brand new Jedi that we haven't seen before, or what's left of the established ones. That, you know. So it was a gutsy move for it to actually be Luke Skywalker. I'm stunned that they did it. Actually, I'm really stunned that they did it. You know, it's total fan. I'm not going to use the word, but it's fun. Yeah, it's fan pleasing stuff. Yes. But it worked. It worked.
It definitely.
It did. Yeah. So, anything else you wanted to say before we go into our final little wrap up and score?
I don't think so. No.
Okay then. I think it's pretty obvious what our scores are going to be.
Oh yeah.
From one extreme to the other, you go from a 0 with Discovery when we were doing that. Both simultaneously, 0.
Yeah.
This is a 10.
Oh yeah, easy
It's a
10.
10.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Fantastic. Yeah. I really have been very, very impressed with this season. And it's so nice to be able to watch something that just
Mm.
you can shut your brain off. It's not challenging. It's not, it's not really in the traditional sense of science fiction. It's more science fiction fantasy. This is than Star Wars always has been more science fiction fantasy than actual science fiction. But it is what it is. It's space opera. It works. It never pretends to be anything else
Yeah.
unless it's the sequel trilogy.
Yeah.
But this season has been so nice. It's just been really great. And I'm actually quite sad that it's ended.
So am I. Like, I want more.
Yeah. And all we got is fucking 3 more weeks of fucking Discovery, a New Year's special of Doctor Who. I mean, it would be nice to have some good things. You know what I mean?
We've got fucking actual Christmas Eve, Discovery. New Year's Eve, Discovery. New Year's Day,
New Year's Day,
Doctor Who.
Doctor Who.
What the
Yeah.
fuck? Why
Yeah.
would they do this?
Yeah. 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 But
Oh.
it'd be interesting to see where it all goes with Disney Plus now. What these other shows are going to be like. Are they going to be able to achieve the greatness that Mandalorian season 2 has achieved? It's not without its flaws. It's had some padding moments. It's had some filler episodes in season 2.
Mm.
But none of them have been bad.
No,
I
no.
don't think we've given a bad score to any, have we? They've all been really, absolutely top-notch scores or very good scores.
Yeah.
Well above average scores. So
Yeah.
I'm hoping that they learn from this. I'm hoping that somewhere in the power structure that they learn from this, that you can't keep alienating your hardcore audience, your bigger audience, the ones that will spend money and will watch these things and spread the word about online and get interest, make things go viral and all that.
Yeah.
Sacrificing all of that for your blue check marks and all the rest of it and your Twitter mob, and people who are disingenuously peddling identity politics agendas and all that kind of thing. You go with what works. It's worked for a long time. Why would you abandon it now?
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
So it looks like they're course correcting. Hopefully that's a good thing.
I mean,
We'll wait and see.
this felt like it could have been in like Return of the Jedi or whatever. So
Yeah.
if they could do something like that, then what's to stop them carrying on doing that? Really?
It shows that, you're absolutely right. It shows that they can do it. It proves that they can do it. And audiences generally, you'll always have people that go, no, la 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 la, no, I can't get. That's fine. I'm not criticising them. I understand that. I do understand that. It's like I'm not letting them off for their past misdeeds, their past crimes against humanity, because they are. In terms of cultural vandalism, cultural destruction, absolutely they are. And there's an agenda behind that as well, destroying the past, destroying archetypes and that. For a new model, which is going to lead us down a very, very dark path culturally in terms of society and all that kind of thing. But this adds a little hope to the world when they actually are going back and embracing the past, not bashing it, not criticism, because they did nothing to be derogatory to Luke Skywalker in this.
No,
they did nothing to be derogatory to Boba Fett and R2D2 and all the rest of it, all these classic characters. And they also didn't appear to be, unless it was very, very subtle, there didn't appear to be any agenda in this either.
I don't think so.
It was just something that was being very, very true to Star Wars and being very, very true to good science fiction, fantasy, space opera. Being very true to it. Yeah. Even the female, the army of the 4 female warriors going in it together. I've seen that many, many times years ago before this whole identity politics agenda was ever a thing. I've seen it many, many times in the past. So why, people can say, oh, it's different now because it's got an agenda behind it. Maybe so, but there's nothing apparent on the screen here to say that. It's usually screamingly obvious when it is.
Yeah.
So, and again, please don't misunderstand me. I'm not letting Disney off the hook. I'm not saying anything nice about Disney. I'm just saying that purely in its own right, this little entity of Mandalorian, it did what it did and it worked brilliantly. Yes, it was made by Disney, and that's a very, very unfortunate thing. But it
Yeah.
it works.
It does.
And so it's a shame to say we're done. We're there. Season finale, end of the show.
Yeah.
I'm going to miss talking about it, but hopefully something else will come along that we can talk nice things about. I'm not hopeful, but at this point in time, but maybe, we'll see. So for now, bye-bye Mandalorian, bye-bye Baby Yoda. So for now, Dan and I will say thank you very much for watching this video. Take care of yourselves, and please like, share, subscribe if you haven't already. We truly, truly appreciate it. And we will see you again very, very soon. Take care for now.
Goodbye.
Bye.